organization meetings scheduled to everyone's time. County chairman may recognize individuals to have speak. Recognized speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. 3-minute public input, public comment period. Recognized speakers shall be permitted to speak no more than one time. No rebuttal to the comments by others will be permitted. Comments, applause, and other interruptions from the audience shall not be allowed. In order to promote orderly meetings, or attendees feel safe and secure in their attendance, threatening and abusive comments that disrupt the meeting shall not be allowed. All speakers shall address the Board of County Commissioners, mention their name, and then speak on the issue from the podium. First speaker today is Mr. Manuel Garcia.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Manuel Garcia. So welcome to the 2 new Commissioners. I just met Mr. Max Trujillo. I had not met him before. And of course I knew Mr. Harold Garcia from when he was at the Road Department. Today's topic is solid waste. I've talked about this a couple of times, so I want to go back and refresh the topic, especially for the 2 new Commissioners. As people might know, that San Miguel County does not have a dump or a landfill. And that's been for several years. And I think even the city of Las Vegas does not have its own landfill. So San Miguel County pays Guadalupe County to landfill, and San Miguel County also pays Santa Fe County, so San Miguel County takes solid waste to Santa Fe County, and San Miguel County also pays Mora County. So one of the problems that I've noticed is that the department, the solid waste department, and it's probably been going on for quite a while, is running about a $700,000 a year annual deficit. So the county collects about $250,000, and they pay out about $250,000. They pay out approximately $23,000 to Guadalupe County and another amount to Santa Fe County and about $125,000 to Mora County. So I had mentioned before that one of the potential solutions to this is recycling and reuse. It's something that's very big across the nation. Some counties in the nation have a recycle rate of about 85%. San Miguel County's recycling rate is only about 3%. So there's a lot of improvement. And one of the problems that I see looming is that landfills have a limited lifespan. So we don't know how long the landfill in Mora is going to be open, how long the landfill in Santa Fe is going to be open, and how long the landfill in Guadalupe County is going to be open. So I think it would be very smart for the county commission to start looking at recycling, because I think that there could be a good business model where the county can actually make money and save money by not having to take our trash to 3 different counties. And if we do recycling, it may be very possible to solve that problem. It's not going to be an easy problem to solve, but you may be facing a shutdown of one of those counties. And the other thing that I'd like to mention is San Miguel County does have a contract with Guadalupe County. There's an official contract for that $23,000 a year. But with Santa Fe County and with Mora County, I could not find an agreement, an official contract, which is required before San Miguel County can disperse funds to those entities. So there you have a problem. You've got one bona fide contract and 2 which are kind of in the shadows. So that needs to be looked at. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, and again, welcome to the new commissioners. I'll be here commenting every time that I can get in, weather permitting. Thank you.
Next item under new business, we have a presentation by San Miguel on the San Miguel Family and Community and Health Council, Family and Community Health Council. Presenter Dr. Barbara A. Perea Casey.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. It's nice to see you all. And thank you once again for having us here. I really appreciate the time. Welcome to the new commissioners. I hope that you enjoy your time on the commission, and I know that both of you will do a great job for us along with the others that are already here. Thank you so much. The San Miguel Family and Community Health Council has been in existence for, probably about 27 years or so. The health councils were developed at the time when Bruce King and Alice were governor and first lady for the state. And it was Mrs. King who was very concerned about the lack of services for women and children. And so the first health council legislation was called the Women and Children's Health Care Act. And that has evolved over the years. Now every county is supposed to have a health council. And the tribes were also added a little bit later so that the tribal councils could also appoint council members to those health councils for the tribes. The purpose of the health council is to provide a hub, so to speak, for all the other health issues that are occurring within the county. And we have numerous things that we work with. We work with the local governments. We work with schools, healthcare providers, nonprofit organizations, advocates, and community members. We work on educational issues to educate the public about health issues that are occurring in our county. And we develop health plans and develop priorities to address those issues. And then we try to coordinate community initiatives that are instrumental in bringing in additional financial resources to the community to provide those health services that are necessary. The Health Council here in Las Vegas has, I've been with it since 2001, and I've been chairing the council since about 2005, roughly, more or less. So I've been there for quite a while. And we continue to work to provide services, and we work with the schools. We've done a photo voice program where the students at West Las Vegas took pictures of foods that were healthy, pictures of foods that were not healthy, and they learned more about what types of nutritious foods are best for them. We also helped the schools, Las Vegas City schools, rewrite their policy on nutrition, and also to rearrange their schedules so that the kids who were getting recess after lunch and throwing up in the playground because they were jumping around after they ate, to have recess before lunch and then come in and eat, and that worked out a lot better. So just little things like that to help the community. The council this year, one of the priorities that was brought to us by the county commission was to look into the elder care and what some of the services that are necessary there. To that end, what we did was we did a public forum at the senior center, and we did this in November. We had a huge attendance. It was very successful. We did a community survey and assessment at that time, and we spoke to every single senior center who was there, senior center member who was there, and we learned, which we probably already knew but just confirmed, was that one of the main areas of concern was access to health care. A lot of elders do not have a way to get to their doctors. They live out in the valley, they live alone, they don't have any relatives that can help them out, those kinds of things. So those are some of the things that were most important to them. Another issue that was of concern was suicide prevention and intervention. And the Health Council coordinator that we have, Rosalie Martinez, is a certified, trained suicide prevention intervention specialist. And she has provided training in Las Vegas to the schools, to the schools in Pecos, Mora, and Wagon Mound. And she will go wherever she's called, even if that entity is not within our own county. She will go out and provide services to wherever they're needed. We have partnerships with various and sundry community and other entities like the Regional Hospital, the City of Las Vegas, the District Attorney's Office, Las Vegas City Schools, Luna Community College, the New Mexico Alliance of Health Councils, the New Mexico Behavioral Health Institute, UNM Center for Participatory Research, UNM Health Extension Rural Offices, UNM Viva Project, New Mexico Highlands, San Miguel County, United World College, and West Las Vegas Schools, to name a few. This year, UNM came to the Health Council and told us that they would like to study our Health Council. And we were kind of surprised that they would want to do that, but they told us that the Department of Health for the state of New Mexico had indicated that the Health Council of San Miguel County was one of the most successful health councils in the state, which of course made us feel really wonderful. And so I'm very proud to announce that. And so UNM is studying us to see what type of leadership skills we use to bring people into our council. How do we get our council to function even when we've had $0? How do we maintain the integrity of the council and keep it going and providing the same services that we've been providing for years? And so to that end, they will be focusing with us on the suicide prevention portion of our priorities for this year, and they will be studying how we deal with other entities outside of the council to ensure that people within the county are getting services in terms of health, suicide prevention and intervention. So we're very happy about that. The people that we don't provide direct services except for Rosalie going out to do suicide prevention intervention workshops and working with the kids at the schools. We do more of an educational type work. We try to educate the community in what is needed and then try to work with our elected officials and other people to get us, to help us provide adequate and appropriate interventions for whatever the problem happens to be. And so we've been very fortunate with that. We also try to have our council members who you get to appoint to represent geographically and demographically the county. And so we try to always encourage people to join if they're from Pecos or the Valley, if they're, if they want to drive in from Trementina or wherever, they are more than welcome. We do have 15 regular members that attend all the time, and then we have others that come in sporadically. Our meetings are always open to the public, and I think one of the reasons that we are so successful is that as the chair of the committee is that I allow anybody that wants to voice their concerns or talk about an issue, bring forth an issue. I welcome that so that we have an opportunity to have, back and forth communication with the community. And some people kind of laugh because whenever we have something that we're going to vote on, and if somebody that's not an official member wants to make a motion on something, I tell them, go ahead, and then we'll go ahead and see where we go with that. And so people feel comfortable in coming to the committee meetings and working with us and bringing their issues of concern to them. We have been very successful in dealing with supporting midwifery here in Chaves County and San Miguel County, and working with different types of alternative medicines that people are concerned about. We worked with the doulas and other, acupuncturists and other people that have come in to request to have a chance to give their information to the council. So my purpose of being here today is to just fill you in a little bit as to the work that we do and also to request that as members of the council to be reappointed, that are the members that are already there, and to appoint 4 new members to the council. And I would like to invite the county commission to, if you know of somebody that might be interested in coming to our meetings and learning more about the county health council, to please send them over. We welcome anybody and everybody. Our meetings are the fourth Tuesday of every month from 10 to 12 at the Public Health Office on Gallegos Road. And we do have some people that come in just sporadically, and then they kind of like what they're hearing and what we're doing. So they've continued to come through the years, and then eventually some of them say, I really want to be a member. Some come in and say, well, I'll come for a couple of meetings and see what you guys are up to, and then I'll decide. But for the most part, those people that come in, participate, have an opportunity to address their concerns to us, and then see what we can do to help them out. So we've been very fortunate in that. Today, our current Health Council members are Monica Larrea de Arellano, and she's from El Valle Women's Collaborative. Myself, Yolanda Cruz with DWI. Dr. Margaret Vasquez Jeffroy, who represents the Social Concerns Committee of IC Church. Louise Hooger-Hughes from Firstborn of New Mexico. Patricia Leon, Las Vegas Peace and Justice Center. Elaine Luna, Montañas del Norte, AHEC. Desiree Martinez, HU Cares. Rosalie Martinez, she is our Health Council Coordinator, and she was supposed to be here today and bring you copies of our prescription trails and Health Council directory, but she was having problems with her computer, so I think she's still at home trying to get that worked up so she can get them here. Raymond Sanchez from El Centro Family Health, and Hyacinth Cedillo from New Vistas. Those are the current members that we have. The new members who would like to be appointed: Alice King from DVR, Dominique Martinez from the Public Health Office, she's the manager there, Kayla Boreer from Alta Vista Regional Health Hospital, and Bernita Wood, Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico. And so I respectfully request that the current members be reappointed, and that the people wishing to become new members be appointed at today's meeting also. And I'll stand for questions.
This is a title for presentation only. You need for us to act on it. Actually, it's not an action item, so we can't vote on it. So next month, if you could bring it in the form of an action item, we would sign off on it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's what you did the last year. I remember signing off on it when you presented the members of your committee, and we approved them at that time.
Okay.
Okay?
We can do that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation, Dr. Keith.
Sure.
Thank you for the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is resolution. Adoption of Open Meetings Act Resolution for 2019, background information, Section 10-15-1 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act at NMSA 1978 requires that each year the County Commission adopt a resolution setting forth the date and time of the Commission meeting and notice requirements for all meetings. I'm going to go over this resolution. It's going to be quite lengthy, so bear with me. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of San Miguel County, hereinafter referred to as the Board, met in regular session at the County Commission Chambers, second floor, San Miguel County Administrative Complex, 500 West National Avenue, Suite 200, Las Vegas, New Mexico, on January 8, 2019, at 2 o'clock p.m. as required by law. Whereas Section 10-15-1B of the Open Meetings Act, NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1, to 4 states that, except as may be otherwise provided in the Constitution of the provision of the Open Meeting Act, all meetings of a quorum of members of any board, council, commission, administrative, adjudicatory body, or other policy-making body, or other policy-making body of any state or local public agency held for the purpose of formulating public policy, discussing public business, or for the purpose of taking any action within the authority of the delegated authority of such body are declared to be public meetings open to the public at all times. And whereas any meeting subject to the Open Meetings Act at which the discussion of adoption of any proposed resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action occurs shall be held only after responsible notice to the public. And whereas Section 10-15-1D of the Open Meetings Act requires that the board determine annually what constitutes reasonable notice of public meetings. Now thereby be it resolved by the board that, number one, all regular meetings of the board shall be held on the second Tuesday of every month, beginning at 2:00 p.m. or as indicated in the meeting notice. Number two, unless otherwise specified, regular meetings should be held each month on the second Tuesday. The agenda will be available at least 72 hours prior to the meeting. From the county manager whose office is located in Las Vegas, New Mexico, the agenda will also be posted on the county's website at www.co.sanmiguel.nm.us. Number three, notice of regular meetings other than those described in paragraph 1 will be given 10 days in advance of the meeting date. The notice will include a copy of the agenda or information on how a copy of the agenda may be obtained. If not included in the notice, the agenda will be available at least 72 hours before the meeting and posted on the county's website. Special meetings may be called by the chairman or a majority of the members upon 3 days' notice. The notice for special meetings include an agenda for the meeting or information on how a copy of the agenda may be obtained. The agenda will be available at least 72 hours before a meeting and posted on the county's website. Number 5, emergency meetings will be called only under unforeseen circumstances that demand immediate action to protect the health, safety, and property of citizens or to protect the public body from any substantial financial loss. The board will avoid emergency meetings whenever possible. Emergency meetings may be called by the chairman or a majority of the members with a 24-hour notice prior notice, unless threat of personal injury or property damage requires less notice. The notice for all emergency meetings shall include an agenda for the meeting or the information on how the public may obtain a copy of the agenda within 10 days taking action on the emergency matter. The county manager will notify the Attorney General's office. Number 6, for the purpose of the regular meeting described in paragraph 1 of this resolution, notice requirements are met. Notice of the date, time, place, and the agenda is placed in newspaper of general circulation in the state and posted in the following location: a conspicuous place in the office of the San Miguel County Board of County Commissioners. The Board of Executive Office Manager shall mail or fax copies of the written notice to the broadcast stations licensed by the Federal Communications Commission and newspapers of general circulation that have made a written request for a notice of public meeting. Number 7, for the purpose of a special meeting and emergency meeting described in paragraph 4 and 5, above notice requirements are met if notice of the date, time, place, and agenda is provided to newspapers of general circulation in the state and posted in a conspicuous place in the administrative office of the San Miguel County Board of County Commissioners. The board's executive office manager shall mail or fax copies of the written notice to the broadcast station licensed by the Federal Communications Commission and the newspapers of general circulation that have made a request for public notice of public meeting. Telephone notice shall be given to broadcast stations licensed by the Federal Communications Commission and newspapers of the general circulation that have made a written request for notice of public meeting. Number 8, in addition to the information specified above, all notices shall include the following language. If an individual with a disability who is in need of a reader amplifier, qualified language interpreter, or any other auxiliary aid or service to attend or participate in the hearing or meeting shall please contact the office of the county manager, San Miguel County, 500 West National Avenue, Suite 201, Las Vegas, New Mexico, 87701. Phone number 505-425-9333. Fax number 505-425-7019. At least 1 week prior to the meeting or as soon as possible. Public documents, including the agenda and minutes, will be provided in various accessible formats. Please contact the office of the county manager, San Miguel County, 500 West National Suite 201, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Phone number 505-425-9333. Fax number 505-429-7019. If a summary or other type of accessible format is needed. Number 9. The board may close the meeting to the public only if the subject matter of discussion or action is accepted from the open meeting requirement under section 10-15-1H of the open meeting act. A. If a meeting is closed during the open meeting, such closure shall be approved by the majority of the quorum of the board taken during the open meeting. The authority for the closed meeting and the subject shall be discussed. The discussion shall be stated with reasonable specificity. Oh, that's a hard one. In the motion to close, and the vote of each individual member on the motion to close shall be recorded in the minutes. Only those subjects specified in the motion may be discussed in the closed meeting. B. If a closed meeting is conducted when the board is not an open meeting, the closed meeting shall not be held until public notice appropriate under circumstances stating that the specific provision of law authorizing the closed meeting and the subject of the discussion to be discussed with reasonable specificity if given to the members and to the general public. C. Following the completion of any closed meeting, the minutes of the open meeting that was closed or the minutes of the next open meeting, if the closed meeting was separately scheduled, shall state whether the matters discussed in the closed meeting were limited only to those specific in the motion of notice or closure. D. Except as provided in section 10-15-1H of the open meeting act, any action taken as a result of discussion in a closed meeting shall be made by vote of the board in an open public meeting. Number 10, a public body may recess and to reconvene a meeting to a day subsequent to that stated in the meeting notice if prior to recessing the public body specifies the date, time, and place for the continuation of the meeting, and immediately following the recess meeting, post notice of date, time, and place for the reconvened meeting, or on or near the door of the place where the original meeting was held, and at least one other public location appropriate to be provided public notice if the continuation of the meeting. The public body may not discuss items at the reconvened meeting that were not on the agenda of the original meeting. Number 11, any and all determinations or resolutions hereto adopted by the board concerning public notice of meeting are required by section 10-15-1E of the open meeting act as amended. B, and the same is hereby rescinded and superseded by this resolution. Number 12, in accordance with section 10-15-1, the policy shall be reviewed annually. Number 13, a resolution shall be filed forthwith in the office of the San Miguel County Clerk, passed this day of January 2019 by the Board of County Commissioners, San Miguel County, New Mexico. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela. Second by Commissioner Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, the election of the chairman, the vice chairman, San Miguel County Board of County Commissioners. Section 4-38-10 NMSA 1978 requires that the first meeting of each year, the county commission selects the chairman and vice chairman. And having noted the former chairman of the county commission, Dewey Lay, is here, and it was passed by resolution 2007. You were chairman at that time, and they passed a resolution regarding this election of officers. first January of each year.
Mr. Chairman, if I'm in order, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Maria Martinez, our
For
chair.
nominations at this time, Carol Garcia, Commissioner Garcia has nominated Maria Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. Stand for any other nominations?
I make a motion to nomination cease.
Motion that nomination be ceased at this time by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor? Do I have a second? Do I have a second? The motion be ceased. You guys would like a second. Do I have a second? Do I have any other nominations? I'm all in favor of Maria Martinez for Commission Chairman. Say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. At this time, seek a nomination for the Vice Chairman. Any nomination for Vice Chairman?
I nominate Commissioner Harold Garcia.
Commissioner Maria Martinez nominates Harold Garcia. Do you have a second? There's a second by Commissioner Trujillo. Any other nomination for Vice Chair? At this time, all in favor of Commissioner Garcia for Vice Chair, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'll turn the gavel over to Commissioner Maria Martinez.
I'd like to present on behalf of the county commissioners and appreciation for the hard work that you've done for this county. And I hope to follow in your footsteps and build this county.
Thank you very much.
So the next item on the agenda is the San Miguel County Resolution 2019-0108, Pecos Canyon. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Janice Varela.
Thank you, Chairman. The San Miguel resolution for Pecos Canyon is urging the New Mexico State Legislature and Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham to allocate funding for planning and improvements to the upper area of the Pecos Canyon located in San Miguel County. And I'd like to introduce former Commissioner Chairman Huey Lay to present this resolution. And thank you for the work you've done on this resolution, Canyon.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. This is a resolution to refresh everyone's memories from the original resolution that we passed back in the county to designate the Pecos Canyon State Park was done under Bill Richardson, and it's kind of languished in the legislature and in the state for a number of years. With that, I'll read the resolution so everybody can have a little bit of idea of what we're talking about. It's Resolution 2019-0108, resolution urging the New Mexico Legislature and Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham to allocate funding for planning and improvements in the upper area of the Pecos Canyon located in San Miguel County. Whereas the County Commission represents the concerns and interests of residents of the village of Pecos and of San Miguel County, and also of diverse visitors from all areas and from various interest groups who work to protect and ensure the continued recreational use of the Pecos Canyon area, and whereas the Pecos Canyon area receives over approximately 500,000 visitors a year for tourism, recreational activities, and to enjoy the protection of the canyon's natural settings, and whereas the San Miguel County Commission desires to support discussions with the New Mexico State Legislature and the Governor-elect, well, she's elected now, Michelle Lujan Grisham, aimed at securing funds for the purpose of protecting and ensuring continued recreational use of the Pecos Canyon. And whereas recognizing that residents of San Miguel County and visitors from the region frequent the Pecos Canyon as a recreational destination and have done so for many years, and further that the influx of people and the use of the area as a recreational site provides substantial revenue and recognition to the village of Pecos, San Miguel County, the state of New Mexico, and whereas the San Miguel County Commission, the village of Pecos, Pecos Business Association, Upper Pecos Watershed, New Mexico State Parks, New Mexico Game and Fish, U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, and other interested partners are working together to maximize the efforts of the Pecos Canyon for the good of the region, village of the Pecos, San Miguel County, and whereas state legislators and elected officials from the village of Pecos, San Miguel County have supported legislation to fund planning efforts aimed at identifying improvements required to accommodate the use of the Pecos Canyon as a recreational area while maintaining the surrounding natural beauty, quality of the water, and preserving wildlife in the area. Be it resolved and determined by the San Miguel County Commission that this resolution be delivered forthwith to Governor-elect Michelle Lujan Grisham and the New Mexico State Legislature, expressing the concerns manifested herein and respectively requesting the Governor and Legislature to do all things necessary to ensure that the funding is set aside for continued planning and improvements for the Pecos Canyon located in San Miguel County. And with that, if you want a little bit of a historical perspective on the properties or anything like that, I'd stand for any questions that anybody might have, any discussions. I've been working on this project from day one, and it's hopefully we can get some traction now with a new governor and we can move forward. It's, from my standpoint, one of our economic engines that will move this county forward is tourism. That recreational opportunity, whether it's hunting, fishing, camping, just biking, trekking, horses, the wilderness. There's a great recreational opportunity that we have not capitalized on, and I think we need to push it and move it further forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda, number 4, capital outlay request to support Tri-County Justice Center.
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, San Miguel County has a building located behind Walmart that is currently the house for the Tri-County Family Justice Center. This building is approximately 10 years old. There's been some problems with the retention of the earth around it. There's some settlement that has occurred. There's also some poor issues within the structure itself. It serves a great purpose for the Tri-County area with regards to domestic issues and other issues that are within this compound. And so I'd like to request for support in seeking legislation for funds to make improvements to this facility.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
All those in favor? Number 5 on the agenda, memorandum of understanding between San Miguel County and Las Vegas San Miguel Chamber of Commerce.
Madam Chair, the Chamber of Commerce requested the following services for San Miguel County: to develop the Las Vegas San Miguel Chamber of Commerce website, to sponsor events and/or activities that promote community development, business interest, promote the community, and promote networks between businesses, government entities, and nonprofit organizations. The Chamber of Commerce will present to County Commission in June 2019 on accomplishments and activities. At this time, I'm requesting that the Commission approve the MOU between San Miguel County and Las Vegas San Miguel Chamber of Commerce.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, San Miguel County versus Purdue Pharma Import. Presented to David Romero.
Commissioners, this is the largest lawsuit in the history of San Miguel County, and it is San Miguel County as the Board of County Commissioners against the major pharmaceutical companies in the country. This lawsuit began because of the concern of the county commission with the opioid infestation with our kids, our relatives, our friends becoming addicted, with the cost to the county, to government, to locals, in a sense of both hospital costs, work costs, destruction of individuals, lack of rehabilitation. I think every family has personally suffered through somebody being touched with addiction. San Miguel County is not only one of the largest counties in the state of New Mexico with this epidemic. It's one of the largest epidemics in the whole country that is stationed here in San Miguel County. The approach to fighting this, working with our other county agencies and state agencies, was to go ahead and authorize the filing a suit against the major pharmaceuticals and the distributors of opium. We expect that this lawsuit will not be quick. It will be a long lawsuit. It will not be, it will be expensive, but not to the cost of the county, as this is a contingency fee case where the lawyers will take a percentage of whatever they can recover. If they recover nothing, they get nothing. They bear the expenses on their own. It is something that is very pleasing to see, I think, because there's been a sense of frustration by seeing family members deteriorate or die or lose or not become the person, or lose the person that they used to be. How we see it not only as adults, but as high schoolers and even grade schoolers, how these drugs are accessible and made readily available. Every time someone goes to get a prescription for some pain that they may have, all of a sudden they're hit with a prescription that provides them with 20, 30 pills of oxycodone or other opioids. And many times these pills are not used by the individual. I mean, I come from an older generation, and we usually take the position of, I'll man up and deal with my pain unless I really have to. So they're kept in the shelf at home. But unfortunately, our kids and our grandkids, our nieces and nephews, know what it is. They go through those those cabinets, and they take these pills, and they use them, and they become addicted. Sometimes they become addicted because they're football players and they break a leg. And before they know it, they're taking so many they can't stop. Sometimes it's just people who have migraines or they became that don't require medication. This is our effort in San Miguel County to try to stop this. It is a 200-page lawsuit. And it has the causes of action, which are the reasons for the suit, spelled out for fraud, for violation of the New Mexico Fair Trade Practices Act, for public nuisance, for false advertising, for Medicaid fraud, for racketeering, for conspiracy, and these are major federal causes of action. But when you're talking about racketeering and conspiracy, you're talking about these pharmaceutical companies knowingly working to overprescribe or to not care at all when they see the results of their prescriptions or how many are being distributed in any one community, to look into it to see if they're really necessary, to work with doctors, to work with agents for the pharmaceuticals to push these drugs on the doctors, to push on the patients. And these sometimes hospitals and medical personnel are rewarded by trips or so-called seminars in Florida, Hawaii, because they have become now agents for the pharmaceuticals distributing their drugs. It's really a sad situation and a frustrating, but it is this type of lawsuit, working with both law enforcement, our jails, our DWI group, some of the groups you've heard of today, all of us working together to try to fight it, instead of just sitting back and saying, oh my God, poor people, what can I do? There's no guarantee to success. But I always feel better because we are doing something to try to fix this problem. And working together, what we're going to be able to do is recover all the direct and indirect costs involved in this opioid addiction. We will be working with the hospital to see how many people are coming in for emergency visits, overdose visits. We'll be working with the school, Department of Labor, anybody in our jail. I mean, our jail bears a huge financial load, which the county is paid for, which is based out of our taxes, in taking care of individuals who come in, who commit crimes because they're on drugs, because they're addicted, because they're stealing and they need their fix, because they lose their mind and they do stupid things. Our jail and all the jails across the state are filled with individuals who have been touched and controlled by rape. And it just doesn't do any good anymore to just say no or be strong or do the right thing, because the drugs have taken over control. I do a lot of cases to see why people, for parents, the children are taken over. But one of the bigger problems occurs in the state Guadalupe County for meth is the Canadian drug. And I have another as a client. I've heard this over and over again. And she goes, oh, I love my people, I love my people. I will do anything to get them back. 1 month later, they test positive for meth. The next month later, they test positive for meth. The power of the drug and the drug is greater than the power of the mother's love. And so it's not an easy fight. But this is the first step. And I am proud to present this complaint to you to show that all of us in our anybody, if they want to complain, and it's a pretty detailed and complex one, so anybody who wants to sit and talk about the details and what each part of the complaint means, and what the theory is, I'd be happy to do so. But for now, I just wanted to announce this fantastic lawsuit. Probably be taken out of San Miguel County and taken directly to federal court. And then we'll be fighting them at different courts I even go down to Dallas and stuff. But we have the ability, and we're getting the facts and the history, which makes me feel confident about the end result.
Thank you, Attorney Romero. Thank you for keeping us updated on what's going on, taking place. Next on the agenda, we have item number 7, appointment of Planning and Zoning Commission, District 1, 3, and 5. Presenter Alex Sequoia.
Good afternoon. First of all, if I may, I'd like to welcome the new commissioners, Harold Garcia and Max Trujillo Jr. We've had some really good commissioners sitting up there, and I am sure, knowing both of them, they'll carry on with that tradition of good county government. I'd also like to congratulate Maria Martinez on her appointment as chairman.
Thank you.
Since we have a new commission, appointments or reappointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission should take place as there's been election of new county commissioners. So it's necessary to appoint or reappoint individuals to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission to represent the county commission districts 1, 3, and 5. So what we're asking is, usually what has happened in past years is the commissioners from their respective districts usually appoint someone to the Planning and Zoning Commission to represent their respective district. So that's what we're asking, if commissioner from the commission districts 1, 3, and 5 are able to or ready to appoint or reappoint the individuals on the Planning and Zoning. For District 1 right now, which would be Commissioner Garcia's district, we currently have Macario Gonzalez serving. From District 3, which would be Commissioner Trujillo's district, we have Dwight Torres serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Then for District 5, which is Commissioner Nahara's district, we have Harold Garcia serving, but he's on the county commission, so I don't know that he can serve both. But anyway, those are the 3 appointments or reappointments that we're asking the commission to consider.
Madam Chair. On behalf of District 5, I should be appointing somebody in February. I don't have anybody right now in mind. Obviously, Commissioner Garcia can no longer serve. I've asked a couple of people and I'm waiting for their answers.
Okay.
February meeting, I'll have somebody to appoint.
Madam Chair? I contacted one person who has agreed to take on this commission seat. His name is Robert Lujan. I will nominate him for that commission, planning and zoning.
So you will give the information to Mr. Sequoia?
I will.
Madam Chair, I'd like to reappoint Mr. Macario Gonzalez to represent my district, District 1. Yes, ma'am. So we have the 3 appointments. Chairman Martinez had to step up a little bit. Next point of business is the appointment of road viewers. San Miguel County currently has 3 individuals who serve as road viewers and 1 individual who serves as an alternate road viewer. Appointment of new road viewers or reappointment of current road viewers is requested. Chair Tafoya, I'd like to present that area.
Yes, we have 3 road viewers who serve as road viewers, Adelaido Trujillo, Ernesto Lujan, and Dwight Torres, and we have an alternate road viewer, Daniel Encinas. And what we're pretty much asking is for the Board of County Commissioners to either appoint new road viewers or reappoint the current road viewers. We have no recommendation on road viewers, but since we have a new commission, we thought that perhaps we should bring this item up for consideration.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Since Dwight Torres is now our project judge, I don't know that it is appropriate for him to serve on committees or commissions with regards to road viewing and for public planning and zoning. So I'd like to put forth the name of Anthony Martinez. He's a retired employee from the State Department of Transportation. Extensive experience in roads and road issues. I'd like to put his name forward for road viewing.
What was his first name? Anthony?
Anthony Martinez.
Madam Chair, and that you're right, Commissioner Trujillo, that he can no longer serve the candidates for the judicial standards don't allow him to hold positions like that, but Dwight Torres can no longer serve. Good appointment.
Madam Chair, if I'm in order, Mr. Daniel Encinas serves as an alternate, I understand?
Yes, that's correct.
I'd like to appoint him as a member as well. Rather than being an alternate, I'd like for him to be a member of the road viewers.
And I didn't get the name of,
Mr. Daniel Encinas?
no, that Commissioner Nahad.
Dwight Torres, I said, could no longer serve. He was right out there.
Yes.
Acknowledging that he could no longer serve. Spoke to him and he had checked with judicial standards, I believe, and they're not allowed to, so he would have to be removed.
Yeah. So we need one more at least. If you're not ready to,
I think Anthony Martinez is going to replace Dwight Torres, is that right?
so we would have Anthony Martinez, Daniel Encinas, and keep the others, or? Pardon?
Ernesto Lujan.
We'll keep him on there?
Keep him on there?
I would say Ernesto Lujan to keep him on there.
And I don't know either one of those.
Oh.
Mr. Chair, if I'm in order, do we have to, can we nominate a second person? Can I nominate a second person?
And that would give us a total of 4?
No, 3.
Well, 3? That's up to the wishes of the commission, yes.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Abel, reappoint Mr. Adelaido Trujillo.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, item number 9, resolution number 0108, 2019, LED. Presenter Alex Sapoya.
Give me a second to get organized here. Okay, at its meeting on June 14th, 2016, the Board of County Commissioners took action to approve and recognize Oldwood LLC as a small and emerging business eligible for financial assistance for an economic development project as provided under San Miguel County Ordinance Number 07-09-13-LIDA and the State of New Mexico Local Economic Development Act. So in order to provide financial assistance to Oldwood LLC and in order to comply with our county ordinance number 07-09-13-LIDA and the Local Economic Development Act in regard to leasing of county-owned buildings to Oldwood LLC, we felt that it would be necessary to adopt an ordinance as provided under the LIDA, which ordinance would approve the Oldwood LLC as an eligible local economic development project, and if the ordinance gets approved at a later date, would approve the appropriate lease agreements for 2 buildings the county desires to lease to Oldwood LLC. So what's happened is the county by ordinance terminated the leases to the EDC and to Oldwood LLC later last year in August, I believe. And that was done in large part because the USDA, one of the buildings was funded by USDA grant funds, and the USDA advised the county that the lease of one of the buildings, which we call the spec building, was in violation of USDA regulations. So then after that, we had the county had a lease executed, and this was back in fiscal year 2015, which was not approved by the State Board of Finance of New Mexico. And the recommendation is that the county consult with the State Board of Finance in order to determine the proper way to resolve this finding. In the meantime, we had been discussing with Oldwood LLC the lease agreements, and one of the items in the lease agreement had to do with rent consideration and how that would be developed, how the rent consideration would be developed. Well, the State Board of Finance requires a few things when a county or a municipality is going to lease real property to an entity that is not another county or municipality. And the State Board of Finance needs to approve the lease, and rent consideration needs to be based on fair market value appraisal, and State Board of Finance provided a checklist. If the leasee is not another public body, and what's included is a current appraisal by a certified appraiser, that appraisal needs to be reviewed for technical review by Taxation and Revenue. The lease has to contain a provision making the lease subject to approval by the State Board of Finance. We have to provide reason for leasing. We have to provide documentation of the selection process used to determine the leasee, whether it was a competitive sealed bid, a public auction, negotiation, what the consideration is going to be. So we took a look at that, but the State Board of Finance rule also provides that the county can rent or lease real property at less than fair market value if it's authorized by legislation implementing the economic development and affordable housing exceptions to the anti-donation clause of the state constitution. And that's one of the issues. We can't have someone in a county building not paying rent and without a lease because it's in violation of the anti-donation clause. Well, that implementing legislation is the State of New Mexico LIDA Act. And the LIDA Act allows for a municipality or county, in this case county, to provide to support economic development, to enhance local economic development efforts, create jobs, and to protect against the unauthorized use of public money and other public resources. And a qualifying entity would be a corporation, limited liability company, and Old Wood, in this case Old Wood LLC is both a corporation and a limited liability company. The requirements under the LIDA Act are that the Board of County Commissioners recognize Old Wood LLC as a qualifying entity, and that was already done back in 2015 or 2016, excuse me, and that the leases be adopted, or the lease agreement be adopted by ordinance. So this is what we're asking today under resolution number 01-08-2019-LED. By the way, one of the issues Old Wood LLC has is if they sign the lease now, the way, and because we don't have a fair market value appraisal done at this point in time, and a technical review of a fair market value appraisal done by the Board of Finance, Old Wood would sign a lease today, and that lease could go, the lease amount could go up 6 months from now. We don't know that. It could go down as well, but that's a concern, and one way to address that concern is to recognize the certification of Old Wood as a small and emerging business eligible for financial assistance under the LIDA Act, which was already done in July of 2016, and adopt an ordinance, which ordinance would approve and adopt the lease for the 10,000 square foot building, which we're calling Building A, that's the USDA building, and the second building, which is a 17,000 square foot building, which we're calling Building B, and set the rent consideration at the amounts that Old Wood LLC was paying under the previous leases that have been terminated. The ordinance would also approve Old Wood LLC as a local economic development project eligible for financial assistance, and that financial assistance can be anything. It can be buildings, land, it can be money, it could be staff efforts to help Old Wood in their business operations, by attracting new businesses, things like that. There's several things that are allowed. So what we're asking for is the Board of County Commissioners approve or consider approving resolution number 01-08-2019-LED, which would allow county staff to propose the ordinance with the leases for passage and approval hopefully at the next meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. We had a brief discussion this morning with David Old, told him what we were doing, invited him to attend the commission meeting today, but I think he was unable to do so. But I think we have been able to, in the proposed lease agreements, address the concerns that Oldwood has. So we would like to start that process, and it's just the beginning of the process. The county attorney has advised Oldwood that we would meet and sit down and go through the leases, and hopefully everything is in order. So that's what we're asking, approval of the resolution, which would allow us to start the process for the ordinance adoption and hopefully lease approvals. And I hope I made sense.
Any questions?
I do, Madam Chair. Yeah, thank you, Alex. I know this has been very convoluted and confusing over months that we've been discussing this. So I'm glad that we're moving in that direction. So are you saying that the resolution and the lease is acceptable to David Old? He's not here right now, obviously, to speak for himself, but we're headed in that direction?
What it seemed, and the county attorney can jump in at any time.
I can answer that question.
Yes.
I've been meeting with Madam Chairman, Commissioners. I've been meeting with David Old, talking to him about the approaches. And what this approach does is it eliminates a major barrier in the negotiation of the lease. Because it will allow, under the law, Oldwood to be given credit for the public good they're doing in employing people, in being a business in town, as compared to just being treated as a straight-ahead capital venture, the landlord and the tenant. The answer to your question is no. This doesn't handle all of the issues between them. But that was a big issue that we think has been taken care of. We still have other issues. Ms. Rosana Vasquez, I visited with her. She is representing the economic development group in town, Las Vegas, San Miguel Economic Development Group. And she asked that this resolution and ordinance be postponed. I told her after thinking about it, no, we want to continue. She wants to be involved, and that is fine with me, but the process is that we're still going to have at least one more meeting on this. Whatever she or Oldwood see that maybe they have concerns with in this resolution ordinance, we can talk about and work on without having to postpone the whole process, which has been real slow for the last couple of months. But I did want to express her view. I think this is excellent. I think this should be passed, and we work towards continuing economic development in the community. And my recommendation is to pass it at this time.
Madam Chair, Mr. Romero didn't mind me asking what capacity does Ms. Rosana Vasquez play with EDC?
I asked her that question. What she said was that she is a new member of the board, and that she had been authorized by EDC to talk about the Oldwood issue and the relationship with the county issue, because there are other members of the board who cannot do it, and because she brings legal knowledge and history to the table. I take her for her word, and I like her approach about let's talk about things. We realize that the relationships in the past have not been good. Things have been said that shouldn't have been said. And I think the county can continue with our priority concerns But I want to hear what EDC has to say. I want to hear what Oldwood has to say as we make these proposals and we move along.
I have a question in reference to the lease amount that will be paid. It's $750 a month.
Okay, what was the question again,
The
please?
lease amount will be $750 a month that Oldwood will have to pay the county,
Well, we're dealing with two buildings now.
okay?
And one building, which is Building A, the spec building, the lease amount was $750, and the second building was $510, I believe. Oldwood, for the last 3 months, has paid $510. So essentially, we're collecting rent, I would say anyway, on one building and providing another building with no rent consideration. And I try to remember to myself that, well, that's in violation of the New Mexico anti-donation clause. We need to resolve this somehow. And as Mr. Romero mentioned, I think we've started a positive dialogue to correct some of these things. And also one way to correct that is to recognize, as was done once before, and Oldwood submitted a letter of intent, recognize that they are a small and emerging business eligible for financial assistance under the LIDA Act and under our county's LIDA ordinance, and that financial assistance would be providing them with land and a building or buildings to operate. So we are collecting some rent, they are paying some rent, but they're not paying the entire rent.
Will we be of any violation of anything if we're putting a dollar amount before there has been an appraisal done on the property, fair market value rental appraisal done on the property? Are we in violation of anything by putting a dollar amount of $750 and $500 for that area?
Not if this is done under the LIDA Act and under our LIDA ordinance, then we would not be in violation, assuming the leases get approved and signed by both parties. But for the moment, we are, yes.
Madam Chair, I think the way to look at this, in my perspective, is not the amount of rent that they pay, but the amount of employees that they hire and the benefit to the county in that aspect.
Yes.
And also the amount of wood that they buy from independent wood sales. So I think that's how we need to look at it, the amount of people that they hire, and they benefit the county greatly. So I think my position is I think we should move on with this and continue to negotiate in good faith.
I agree with you there, Mr. Nahad. I just don't want us to be in any violation of going forward with something that we're...
Madam Chair, if I'm in order with the advice from our legal counsel, it looks like he's supportive of it, recommends that we adopt the resolution, and so with that, I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 01-08-2019-LED.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So, thank you. Not knowing who is going to be chairman and vice chairman and so on, I need to include the names on the signature page, so I'll get that to the county manager in the morning so we can circulate it for signature. Thank you.
Excuse me, for purposes of the record and the nature of this motion, I would like a roll call vote so that it's clear that this commission approves it.
Can we have a roll call vote?
Chairman Maria Martinez,
Yes?
Vice Chairman Janice Varela,
Yes?
Commissioner Chris Nahad,
Yes.
Commissioner Harold Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Max Trujillo.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is item number 10, addendum to agreement with Miller Engineering Consultants.
The first year of the agreement for engineering services is needed between the county and Miller Engineering Consultants. It expires now at the end of this month. And Miller Engineering has indicated that they wish to extend the agreement for a second year. So we would like to ask the Board of County Commissioners to extend the agreement between the county and Miller Engineering Consultants for services for as needed for a second year.
Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I have a question before we take action on it. This question is for the county manager. Mr. Martinez, do you feel comfortable with us approving a second year for the Miller Engineering Consultants? And then, in addition to that, I'd like to just share a concern that I have. It seems like we only have one engineering firm on contract, which makes it a little difficult when it comes to negotiating work that is to be done. Because in the past, what we used to do is we had multiple engineering firms, and it made it look a little much more pleasing to be able to have competition with these firms rather than just having one firm. And so, is there any plan as far as where we would like to go with this other, as far as, first of all, approving this agreement, and then secondly, maybe considering additional engineering firms for services?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I have met with Mr. Tafoya, and in our February meeting, he will submit RFPs for engineering services and also for architect services. With that said, I would make the recommendation to the commission to approve a one-year extension for Miller Engineering Consultants.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Harold Garcia, second by Chris Nahat. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is item number 11, update on San Miguel County Comprehensive Plan.
This is just for information purposes at this point. A draft San Miguel County Comprehensive Plan has been developed between county staff, residents of the county, working with architectural research consultants, a process that's been going on for several months now. And we just wanted to just present the plan very briefly, provide it to you for your review, and then bring it back at a later meeting, perhaps maybe in February or March if there are no revisions that the Board of County Commissioners wants us to make, because we didn't want to just present it and say, here it is, and ask you to approve it. The plan addresses the elements of land use, economic development, transportation, housing, infrastructure, water, hazard mitigation, and it also looks at our current oil and gas ordinance that was adopted in 2014. These elements for the comprehensive plan are elements that DFA and local government division require in a comprehensive plan. So that's why those elements are being addressed. The county had 7 community meetings in different areas in late summer and early fall. We met in Pecos, in the Gallinas area, in Conchas, El Valle, the Sheridan Fire Station, Trementina, the Rochella Fire Station here, here in this building. We had 10 different meetings, got comments from different individuals. The plan contains initiatives in regard to land use, economic development and transportation, housing, infrastructure, water. We don't have infrastructure in regard to things like utilities. Our infrastructure addressed the buildings that the county owns. County roads are put under the transportation portion of the plan. It also looks at water and hazard mitigation, comes up with special projects, public safety and information technology. The county incorporates some critical plans and studies, which include the previous, or the current rather, San Miguel County Comprehensive Plan, the City of Las Vegas Comprehensive Plan, the Village of Pecos Comprehensive Plan, the county's All Hazards Mitigation Plan, the county's Wildlife Protection Plan, the Region 8 Mora San Miguel Guadalupe Regional Water Plan, and a county report on the community conversations and community survey that looks at existing conditions, the demographics of the county, population projections, information on the settlement of the county. Section 3 talks about land use, land status, talks about where the primary areas within the county are in regard to residential and also land use, agricultural land use. Goes on with some discussion on land grants. The Section 4 addresses economic development, looks at the existing conditions, employment, unemployment, has statistics in regard to existing conditions of employment, median household income in different areas of the county, major employers and their workforce. Section 5 addresses transportation. It looks at the amount of county, the amount of roads within the county. We have about 1,548 miles of roads in the county, consisting of the interstate highway and U.S. highways, state highways, private roads, and of all that, of those 1,500 miles, 509 miles, or 32%, are county roads. So the county has a large chunk of the transportation infrastructure within it. Recommends by the way, a road management plan be developed. The Section 6 looks at housing conditions, the amount of housing units that are single family and how many are owned by individuals, vacancy status, things of that nature. Section 7 addresses infrastructure, looks at the buildings, each building that the county owns, and indicates a little bit of the condition of the different buildings. Discusses solid waste and landfills and recycling, an issue that was brought up earlier. Telecommunications, looks at hydrological and, Section 8 looks at water, talks about hydrological issues, precipitation, snowfall, the groundwater basins and the water quality. has maps that indicate where streams and the lakes are at. Talks a little bit about the community water systems in the county and lists them all. And talks about acequia water rights and adjudication of water, beneficial use of water, lists goals and policies. Section 9 discusses hazard mitigation, and the wildfire issues within the county where major fires have occurred. Talks about issues and opportunities and goals and policies, and pretty much ends with that. So we just wanted to just provide it to the county commission so they can go through it and either if there's any comments, submit those comments to myself or to the county manager so that we can work them in to the plan, and then we'll bring it back at a later date, February or March, I'm not sure exactly when, and ask for adoption of the plan. Then after that, we will, because we don't want to confuse the two, then we'll bring the final PECO sub-area plan. That was a plan that had started a few years back, but then funding didn't continue for it to do that, and ARC, after the Board of County Commissioners made some money available, ARC completed that plan. So then we'll be bringing that back to you in the early spring. And that's all I have on.
Madam Chair. Mr. Tafoya, can you explain the significance of this document in respect to applying for grants? Is it necessary that we have a document such as the comprehensive plan for, let's say, for example, applying for CDBG grants or any other grants?
Well, CDBG requires that that we have a comprehensive plan, and we get points for it. It does help because one of the grants that the county received, and I can't remember the name of it, but that Mr. Lopez is working on, which would be the extension of the pedestrian walkway up to I can't recall the street there, but it goes up to Highway 65. That's what, well over $800,000 grant? Yes. That grant, or that project rather, had to be a project identified in, because it was a joint application with the city, because a lot of the work will be done along the Gainas River Walk. Both the city and the county had to have that project identified in its comprehensive plan. So in answer to your question, yes, more and more grant funding sources are requiring that counties and municipalities have a comprehensive plan, yes.
Is that particular TAP project in this comprehensive plan?
It's on our current comprehensive plan, but you know, I didn't notice if it was on this one or not. Yeah.
So Mr. Lopez will have to add those specifically road projects into the plan.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question, Madam Chair. Mr. Tafoya, you said that the PECO's sub-area plan hasn't been finalized, but there's the process to finalize that and incorporate it into the comprehensive plan, this one?
It would be like the El Valle sub-area plan. It would be, I guess, an appendix, if you will, to the comprehensive plan. Yes.
So you've answered my other question. The El Valle sub-area plan is an appendix to this?
It's an appendix to the current plan, and it would be an appendix to this one. We're also including our oil and gas ordinance as a appendix, if you will. Yes.
So then one more question. What would it take? Do you need any assistance from us to be able to get the PECO sub-plan finished?
Well, we have it in draft form. I'm just not presenting it today because I didn't want to present both of them at the same time. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tafoya.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, along the same discussion, I did want to make you aware that I am looking at, or I'm working on language which supports the acequias in the protection of both culture and the water rights. What I discovered in our lawsuit in the Strickling case, where you have billionaires buying up essentially the valley, the Upper Pecos area, and taking or buying water rights from the acequias. They're essentially destroying over a period of time the acequias, and those downstream from Pecos will be losing more water. What I found in our lawsuit is, even though we had resolutions which say that we are against that, I want to make sure that it's incorporated into our master plan so that we can have more authority, legal authority, precedent to fight these Midland Odessa oil people. Unfortunately, there are a lot more millionaires than there are acequias, and those millionaires can continue to throw money at these cases, and it's very hard for acequias to hire or have the funds to fight the taking of water rights and essentially loss of the whole water rights culture of the community, working together to try to provide and raise agricultural goods. But with this type of additional legal authority, it makes it harder for that to happen, even if the acequias don't have all the attorneys that millionaires have.
Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions?
Madam Chair, if any commissioners have any questions or comments or with the content, how do you want to proceed with that? Would you prefer that a commissioner call you and indicate maybe we need to work on this? What is the process?
They can call me or send me an email, or go by the office and visit. It doesn't really matter as long as we get that information.
Okay.
Yeah. Or they could maybe leave it with your office and.
Any more questions? So we'll move on to item number 12, updated discussion on possible CDBG projects. Presenter, Mr. Alex Tafoya.
So back in October, the Board of County Commissioners held and conducted a public hearing and accepted comments in regard to possible projects for a 2019 Community Development Block Grant CDBG application. And upon the conclusion of the public hearing, the Board of County Commissioners determined 3 projects be looked into for application eligibility. One is the road and drainage improvements at Country Acres subdivision. The other one is the Tri-County Family Justice Center improvements. And the third one is a wastewater system in East Pecos. So after that, county staff, myself, the county manager, the former Public Works Supervisor Morris Madrid, and Arnold, did you go with us? Went to Santa Fe. And we met with local government division staff, and we discussed all 3 projects. So what I have here is just a little outline that gives you a little update on each of the 3 projects. The Tri-County Family Justice Center building is a county-owned building. It serves San Miguel County, Mora County, and Guadalupe County. Its mission is to stop family violence, sexual assault, and child maltreatment. It provides services to victims and their families of domestic violence. It's open to the public. It provides a range of psychological assessment, therapeutic and/or case management services for children, women, groups, and families. It's CDBG eligible under the public facility category, designed to provide health, social, recreational, or similar community services for residents. One of the requirements of a CDBG application is that the project has to meet the low to moderate income requirement, and the Tri-County Family Justice Center does under the limited clientele category. We have a preliminary cost provided by Tri-County staff of approximately $190,000 for the various improvements, and that cost will need to be certified by an architect or an engineer. So the county, if this project is selected, will need to issue an RFP for architectural services for the project. We looked at road and drainage improvements to the country acres, and this is the area of the country acres the county staff is looking at. The project area is outlined in black marker. There's approximately, all the roads are county roads, by the way. The project area would need to meet the 51% low to moderate income. Local government division is reviewing the project area for approval to allow us to conduct an income survey. There's approximately 86 residents in the project area, and although the county has done some work in that area, the county will need to issue an RFP for engineering services for the project. The next project that we looked at is the East Pecos water wastewater project. So what I've handed out to you is a map of the area. The first page shows the project area, and it's outlined in red. That's the project area of the East Pecos. I'll get to the second page in a second here. This would be an expansion of the Village of Pecos wastewater system into the East Pecos area. The cost estimate for the project is approximately $4,077,626.55. The county does not own or operate the Village of Pecos wastewater system. The local government division legal team would have to review any arrangement between the county, the Village of Pecos, and the East Pecos area to ensure that there are no anti-donation or site control issues. Local government division advised that they have no examples of such situations with the CDBG program, so this would be new to them. The project area would have to meet the low to moderate income requirements of 51% or greater. The number of residents in the project area is approximately 757 persons. There are different forms in a CDBG application that require the signature of the county commission chairperson, and there's different certifications. And the commission chairperson will have to certify that all property, sites, easements, rights of way, and permits for the permanent operation of the system, maintenance of the system have been legally obtained. So in regard to easements, an engineer working with the East Pecos system indicated that any easements that East Pecos has for their water lines would be amended by adding water and sewer to the existing easements. And the engineer advised that there are few easements that have been found within county records. Depending on funding, this effort would be necessary to complete the project. In addition to easements, land acquisition for the pump station site adjacent to the Pecos River would also be required. So in regard to easements, if you look at the second page, you're going to see on the upper part yellow lines which indicate roads, and in the lower part you're going to see, I guess they're red, and those are all roadways as well, and then there's an orange in the middle. Depending on where the sewer line would cross the Pecos River, that's going to depend on where the major sewer lines would be located, either in the yellow area and the orange area. But all those yellow and red lines there are areas where easements need to be obtained. So any land that would need to be acquired for easements or for the pump station site needs to be based on HUD regulations and requirements. And those regulations and requirements include a bona fide land appraisals as a basis for land acquisition, specific procedures for selecting contact appraisers, and contract negotiations, and a written summary of the land acquisition price offer based on fair market price. So we're looking at a lot of fair market value appraisals. Also required, because wastewater systems have their own unique requirements for an application, is an asset management plan with all 5 components that need to be submitted. So the East Pecos engineer seems to disagree with the CDBG requirement for an asset management plan, and pretty much told me, well, we don't need to do that. Well, the CDBG requires an asset management plan be submitted with the application. East Pecos also appears to be applying for funding from the USDA, and we need to remember that USDA funds are federal funds, and CDBG is a federal program, so we can't leverage federal funds or match federal funds with other federal funds. The project will need to be on the county's current ICIP plan prior to the CDBG application deadline, with evidence of the adopted ICIP included in the application. And well, this project isn't on our current ICIP as compared to the other 2 projects, which are. Also, a drought contingency plan adopted by the county will need to be submitted. A water conservation ordinance adopted by the county will need to be submitted. And as with the other 2 projects, completed plans, specifications, bid documents, or preliminary engineering reports will need to be submitted. A completed environmental review process will need to be submitted. And what makes this project interesting is that the sewer line would be crossing the Pecos River. So an environmental review process for Country Acres, for the road projects in Country Acres, the assessment is a lot different than an environmental review for a project that is crossing crossing a river or a wetlands. So, and then a rate structure for the project will need to be submitted. I've asked for a copy of the rate structure, and there was a little bit of few comments, but essentially they said, well, we're working on it. So that is an update on the 3 projects. At this point in time, what we plan to do is we had to revise our project area for the country acres and add about, I don't know, there's 10 or 11 houses there. We needed to add those houses. So that's been all sent back to local government division. We should get an approval from them in another week or so, and then we'll go out and do a preliminary income survey of the project area to determine if it meets low to moderate income. The Tri-County Family Justice Center does, and it appears the East Pecos area does meet the low to moderate income if the CDBG will accept the figures that are being submitted by East Pecos on their USDA application. And they took a look when we met with them in Santa Fe. They took a look at those and they said yes, but they haven't given us anything in writing. So then hopefully in February, March at the very latest, we'll come back with a recommendation and ask the Board of County Commissioners to select either one of these projects or a different project. And that's all I have on this matter.
Are there any questions?
Madam Chair, can you explain the time frame to the commission for this year?
The time frames,
when the deadline, when the workshop meeting, the deadline to submit application, can you explain that?
and I knew you were going to ask, and I printed that out. March 5th is the application workshop. It's usually a day or day and a half workshop, and instructions are given on how to complete the application, what needs to be submitted, and so on. All the information I gave you is off the application manual. The actual application will be due June 21st. The low to moderate income methodology approval deadline will be April 5th. So, and that's when local government says, yes, you can proceed with your income survey, but we're asking for that ahead of time. And then the low to moderate income calculations with the appropriate documentation. There's a form that we have to submit for each house. Is due on May 3rd. And then on August 28th will be the application hearing, and that's when we will be allowed to actually present the application. In the past, we've done, and Mr. Garcia's been at many of them, we've done a PowerPoint presentation with our application, and county staff presents the application. And then the allocation meeting, where we find out if the project will be funded, will be on September 18th. The implementation workshop will be on October 16th. So we're looking at several months, but we're trying to get a little bit ahead of the game here. And,
so the application is due June 21st?
June 21st, yes. And,
is only one of these projects allowed for us to submit?
one application, yes. One application, one project, yes.
Any further questions? Okay, we'll move forward to item number 13, recent grant awards, 2019 Fire Protection Grant. Presenter, Mr. Andrew Durant, Fire
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I have some information purposes only item. Recently, we had several of our county fire departments apply for a grant through the State Fire Marshal's Office, a fire protection grant. We have since received word and award letters for 4 of our projects. One of the projects is for El Pueblo Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $100,000 for a fire apparatus. They'll be replacing one of their fire engines. This grant requires a 10% match, which a fire engine is going to require a substantial match aside just from the 10%. Pecos Canyon Volunteer Fire Department received an award of $40,850 for communications. Their project is going to entail replacing their handheld radios and the radios and all their apparatus to some modern equipment, some digital equipment. So that should help improve their communication in that area. The Rural Volunteer Fire Department was awarded $98,141.40. The majority of that grant will be for facility improvements. We recently finished the shell, if you will, of their newest fire station. This grant will help finish the interior portion of that fire station to include office space, restrooms, training room, storage room, and such items as that for the interior. And they'll also be buying a few other general firefighting equipment. The Sapio Rosada Volunteer Fire Department was awarded a $100,000 grant for an apparatus. They will be replacing a water tender. We're looking at purchasing a 2,100 gallon water tender for that area. Again, 10% match is required, but it'll be more a substantial amount more than that. So this is great news for our departments.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 14, personal action for changes for the month of November 2018 and December 2018. Presenter Eileen Sevier, Human Resources Supervisor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Martinez. Congratulations on your new position on the board. Welcome, Commissioner Trujillo and Commissioner Garcia. And thank you, Commissioner Nahad and Commissioner Varela, for your prior year service as Chair and Vice Chair. Before you, you have personnel actions that have taken place in the month of November 2018 and December of 2018. At this time, I'm asking for your approval and ratification of these personnel changes.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahad. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Item number 15, Public Works Division report for the month of November and December 2018. Presenter Arnold Lopez, Public Works Foreman.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commission, and congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
And I'd like to, on behalf of Public Works, I'd like to express a sincere invitation to you new commissioners to visit our facility, and congratulations on your new appointments. But feel free, contact us, and please come out to our facilities. We'll give you a tour of our facility, and maybe you could see the operation of our crusher and everything that goes on out there. So for the month of November, we were able to perform maintenance on various county roads. You know, weather was cooperating, and we did accomplish a lot during that month. In December, we've been battling the snowstorms, as you know. We did a lot of snow removal in various areas throughout the county. Guys spent a lot of overtime hours out there, keeping the roads clean and safe for the traveling public. Very proud of the crew. We accomplished a lot in 2 days. We did hire some additional help from local contractors, and they provided us some assistance in the snow removal. So we were able to get out to these roads that were snowed in and people needing access in and out of their properties. So what we want to do, we want to update you on some projects that some are ongoing and some are going to be in construction and design phase and different, but we did want to give you an update on projects. So as Alex talked about the El Camino Trail project, that is a federally funded project, and that is El Camino is a road that comes from Cinder Road towards the direction of Camp Luna on the hill. So that project is going to consist of widening for a trail to extend our trail path that is on Cinder all the way to Hot Springs. And then that'll consist also of curb and gutter. With some additional funding, we're hoping to actually repave that portion because it's already deteriorated, is in much need of some updating on that. And we got about 770,000 designated for that construction. And then our second project is a FEMA bridge repair project out in the San Jeronimo area. This particular bridge was damaged by flooding in 2014. It sustained some damage to the upper portion of the support of the bridge and the deck area. So we received funding from FEMA. We got about a $700,000 budget. Unfortunately, it is just to repair the bridge. They do not allow for new construction, but with that funding, we should accomplish a good repair to it. And then our Country Acres project is a drainage project that I just this week had the final documents signed by a couple of a resident and then also the Story Water Association providing us easement to drain into the Story Channel. So I got those signed and it'll move on forward now to final design. So we're hoping to have that final design within the month and then put it out to bid. So we're anticipating construction on that by April, and then we should complete that in say like about a month. It's not a very big project. The White Barn Road is an ongoing project. It's been paved. We got some corrective action that needs to take place on that road, and it is ongoing. Negotiations were made with the local contractor. It's going back to change order committee, so we should get approvals to proceed on that and finish it as soon as weather permits. Our 8th Street extension reconstruction, that is going to be a nice project, a much needed improvement for 8th Street. And we got a budget about $550,000, and that'll be a totally reconstructed portion. It'll consist of basically eradicating existing road, recompaction, new base course, and then new pavement on that. Cactus Drive, and actually 8th Street is funded by local government road funds on that one. Mm-hmm. Cactus Drive is a project that was selected by previous commission, and that is in the Row area. We got about a $75,000 budget on that, and that is to address a little bit more pavement extension on that portion of Cactus Drive. Our San Agustin low water crossing project, so that is in the direction of San Agustin and Lourdes. So this low water crossing crosses the Gainas River. This particular crossing is constructed with CMP corrugated metal pipe that carries the water through the pipe, and then it has a concrete structure, concrete deck, and but anyways, these pipes deteriorated for some reason. Well, it's probably in the excess of 20 years old, but the pipes basically rusted out. They corroded underneath the concrete structure. So we have failure. It's a project. It's not a want-to project. It's a have-to. That is in definite need of a repair. We have some appropriation money, and then also we're going to have to fund that partially with our road revenue monies. And we're anticipating we're going to end up with like maybe a $215,000 budget for that. Hopefully, we could do it in under that. It is way premature to actually determine full cost on that. And then Las Dispensas was a capital outlay project. Monies were received from legislature last year. It's only a $20,000 funding that we received for that. My thought is on this particular one is to, when we go out for bid, we will use contractor to haul in place, and I'm thinking about recommending using our material so we could increase the distance on this particular project. So we'll get a little bit more area coverage with that amount of money. When it's all said and done, we're hoping that we'll end up still with about a $700,000 remaining budget for road revenue projects, future road revenue projects. We're going to have some recommendations on that to use the money for some much needed structure repairs. We have several bridges, wooden deck bridges, that are in dire need of repairs on these. So that's going to be my first priority, is to address all our structures, make them safe, and then we'll revisit monies that are going to be available and left over. And my recommendation will be to use these additional monies, leftover monies, on some of our paved roads that are in dire need of resurfacing. But that kind of gives you a cap there on all our projects, existing and upcoming, our budget. If you look at the sheet there, our spreadsheet, we have anticipated start dates, anticipated completion dates, and of course that's all subject to change depending on weather and other unforeseen circumstances. But in a perfect world, that's our anticipated time frame there.
Madam Chair, I just a couple of things. First of all, Mr. Lopez, thank you very much for following up, you and your crew, with the much needed snow removal that we had over the holiday season. I know that you and your crew were out there working while a lot of people were at home enjoying the holiday. And for that, I'd like to give you my thank you and your staff for doing that. Secondly, as many of you know, we had an issue with the city of Las Vegas where they're having water leaks throughout the community. As a result, Camp Luna, which is in my district, has had to deal with water issues. They've been without water for the last, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 days. And it's been ongoing for a few weeks at a time. And finally this morning, I was receiving a lot of phone calls. So finally this morning, I came to the building manager and I asked if there was anything that we could do to assist with this situation. And to make a long story short, we had Arnold from Public Works, we had our emergency operations manager, Mr. Leo Maestas, Mr. Andrew Duran, our fire chief. They were able to get together, and as a result, we have a 1,500-gallon water tank that was taken up to Camp Luna to provide water to the residents. And for that, I want to let you know that I appreciate that as well, to the 3 gentlemen that are here, and the county manager as well. And then with regards to the project, I have a question. I don't know if Melinda, did you receive this? I have a question with regards to the funding amounts. Does Country Acres have 150 or does it have 100,000? And then as it spends, I don't know if San Agustin, I understand them to be a little smaller than the 215,000. Okay, and then I understand that in addition to the revenue bond proceeds that are the balance. We also have a $250,000 general fund appropriation that was earmarked for these projects. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Madam Chair. Mr. Lopez, on the San Agustin crossing, is this amount going to be sufficient to cover, because there's some big culverts that are huge, and they completely rotted out. There's quite a bit of cement that covers those culverts. Is this going to be sufficient to cover that amount, that repair?
We've had some preliminary cost estimates, and we're hoping to fall within that amount. You know, again, it's way premature. The final design, no design has been done yet. It's all preliminary, and it's a possibility that we might have to reconsider maybe using a little bit more of revenue monies for that to actually complete that project. But that's why yeah, that's why we're not really wanting to budget these leftover monies till we kind of finish these ones, okay? Because some additional funding might be required. So as long as we have that nest egg there, say, we could tap into that and pull some additional funding if needed. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions, Madam Chair? Just a comment, I'd like to thank you very much, Arnold, and thank your staff for working on the weekend and taking care of the roads all throughout the county, including my district. Thank you so much for always being responsive.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you.
And thank you.
And your crew, thank you so much.
And in regards to Camp Luna with the water situation, I've been in contact with my crew, and we've had an incredible response to wanting water. You know, we've used close to half of the tank, you know, so there's quite a bit of water in demand out there. And the people did say to thank you all for the service that we were able to provide for them, and they're really appreciative.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda, we have item number 16, subcontract agreements for juvenile justice service, violence and substance abuse prevention services, Somos Familia, restorative justice services with Armhammer, United World College, Grove Circle, and Boys Council, and Pecos Valley Medical Center. Ms. Yolanda.
Good afternoon. So the county was recently awarded the juvenile justice contract, and as such, we have a juvenile justice continuum board, and we're required under that contract to provide certain services. And so the services that the board agreed to provide and that were approved by CYFD are the restorative justice, gender-specific services, which are Girls Circle and Boys Council, and then violence and substance abuse prevention. We did go out for quotes on those under the guidance, working with our finance department, and we did get responses. And so according to the quotes that we received and the services that we're requiring, the people that we'd like to contract with or contract with are Somos Familia for the substance abuse and violence prevention, which would be a community reinforcement approach, and that is an evidence-based program. And then the restorative justice would be with the Arm & Hammer United World College. They've been providing that service in the past. And then Pecos Valley Medical Center would be the contractor for Girls Circle and Boys Council, and they have agreed to provide that service not just in the Pecos area, but also in Las Vegas. I don't know if you have questions for me. I don't know if you have questions. Sorry, that was the same thing you just said. Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to have six contracts coming because we need them in duplicate so that they can have an original and we can have an original. And I'm on the next item too, but I'm going to pass these to you before I get started on that.
Approval and adoption resolution number DWI 010819, authorizing the county of San Miguel to submit an application to the Department of Finance and Administration, Local Government Division to participate participating in the local DWI grant and distribution program. Ms. Yolanda Cruz.
Every year we submit an application to DFA to fund the DWI program, and as such, DFA requires certain documents to be approved and signed by the Board of Commissioners besides the grant. The grant isn't due until March, so I'll be back here with the grant approval as well. But they do require, the forms that they require are boilerplate templates that they develop. And so the first one is a resolution authorizing the County of San Miguel to submit an application to the Department of Finance to participate in the program. And if you'd like, I can read the resolution out loud, or... Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 18, statement of assurances for the local DWI grant and distribution program fiscal year 20.
Okay, and this is one of those forms that they require. And the statement of assurances basically states that we will follow, federal and state laws with the funding, and that we'll comply with the procurement code and adhere to the financial and reporting requirements. So we're basically ensuring that we will utilize the funds wisely and follow the rules when we do so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carried by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 19, fiscal year 20, memorandum of understanding between San Miguel County DWI program and the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration. Ms. Yolanda Cruz.
And this MOU is also one of the required documents, and basically it just spells out the requirements of the county and the DWI program to follow the DWI rules for administering the program.
Motion to approve. Motion moved by Commissioner Garcia. Second. Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Next item on the agenda is item number 20, Board of Finance meeting. Bank transfers for the month of November and December. Presenter, President Tamante, San Miguel County Treasurer.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, Mr. Trujillo and Mr. Garcia. Welcome to our little familia. We'll be here together for a while. Congratulations, Mrs. Martinez, on your appointment also. For the month of November, I'm going to start with our bank transfers. For Mr. Garcia and Mr. Trujillo, I do bank transfers that are done internally for purposes of our finance department. Also, I do the quarterly, monthly report for our tax dollars that we collect. Okay? Our November payroll transfers, November the 8th, we had from Detention Center, $50,758.43. From General Fund, we had $184,692.90, a total of $235,451.33 for payroll. On November the 21st, from Detention Center, we had $55,195.95. From General Fund, we had $180,882.40. A total of $236,078.35 to payroll. We had a transfer from General Fund to Detention Center, $29,337.68. That was done November the 14th. On November the 30th, to Bernalillo County, our housing, we had $64,088.44. Our payroll transfers in December the 6th, From detention center, we had $61,095.80. From general fund, we had $178,212.42, a total of $239,308.22. On December the 20th, from detention center, $59,503.20. From general fund, $179,366.28, a total of $238,869.48. We had a transfer from general fund reserve to detention center, $519,314. That was done on December the 19th. On December the 12th, we had a wire transfer that came out of general fund reserve to New York Chase, and that was an interest payment of $66,825. That's for a bond that we have with New York Chase, correct, Melinda? We also had on December the 21st, from detention center to payroll, we had $698.73. From general fund to payroll, December the 21st, $1,354.15. Then Bernalillo County Housing, $59,194.14. That was done on December the 31st. Those were all of my transfers that we had for the month, November and December.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Reyna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 21, tax dollar report. Ms. Bertha.
My quarterly report for October, November, and December, our total collections on our taxes that we received was $8,927,982.07. So our October was kind of slow. That was $319,706.73. But November and December, we were able to collect $4 million on both November and December. Okay.
Are there any questions for Ms. Bertha?
No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 22, addendum to contract with JCG Plumbing. Presenter, Ms. Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair, first congratulations and welcome to on the first item of the agenda, last year,
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 23, addendum to contract with EGE Electric.
Madam Chair, Commissioner, also something similar, our leasing department went out for RFPs for electrical services. There were 3 people who actually responded to it, only 2 of them were awarded last year. Although this is a company, we seem to get their taxes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Varela. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 24, resolution 2019-0108 F1.
So it's very different.
Excuse me, Ms. Gonzalez, you said Pecos Canyon, but you mean Pecos Volunteer? Yeah, because we have two different ones. One's a Canyon, they received the award in the other report, and then, was it Pecos Canyon? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. On this one, it says Pecos Volunteer, which is a different one. Oh, okay, that's that one. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Melissa. Is there any questions for Ms. Gonzalez?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Nahat, second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 25 on the agenda, accounts payable report for the period of October 2018. Presenter Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair,
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahat. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 26, accounts payable report for the period of November 2018.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is also a report of our system of all payments being issued of the month of November
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Accounts payable report for the period of November 2018. Presenter Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is a receipt report of all payments taken in by our treasurer's office.
Any questions for Ms. Gonzalez? Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Item 28, receipt report for the month of November 2018. Presenter Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you. Item number 26, journal entry report for the month of October 2018, information purpose only. Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam
Gonzalez. Item number 27, journal entry report for the month of November. Item number 29, cash balance report for the month of November. And the numbers are out of sequence. Yeah, cash balance report for the month of November 2018.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is for additional and all these funds that are included here, the description of the and
Any questions for Ms. Gonzalez? Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Item 29, cash balance report for the month of October 2018. Any questions for Ms. Gonzalez? Item number 30, indigent burial claim.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the public office received 2 indigent burial claims, one from Rocky Cemetery in Boston, California, and the other from Valencia Cremation. Commissioners know what happens is we have forms that we go into each time to bury their loved ones.
Motion to approve. So moved. Second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 31, budget report for the period of July 1st, 2018 to October 2018. Any questions for Ms. Melendez? Thank you, Ms. Melendez. Item number 32, budget report for the period of July 1st to November 2018. Ms. Melendez. Any questions for Ms. Melendez? At this time, we will go to executive closed session. Attorney-client privilege pertaining to threat or pending litigation as permitted by NMSA 1978, Section 1015-187, as amended of the Open Meeting Act, more specifically potential litigations, reference, breach of contract, pending litigation, detention center, San Miguel County versus Economic Development Corporation, Rocky Vivari versus San Miguel County. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahat. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
We can meet him here.